Loaded the wrong thing. I'm just going to leave this and then hop back into the actual thing I wanted to show, which was two uh, quick battle games that I played that were, I think, really fun and maybe brought a little bit of an unconventional taste to what you might have seen from my playstyle in the past. So this game is featuring Malkith on a chariot with two Death Hags. I brought the heavy metal triple Harganeth Executioner squad, two Dark Shards, Shades, Harpies, and a Bolt Thrower against a Dwarf, like a pretty standard Dwarf build. I mean, you've got, for the Dwarfs, you've got Thorgrim Grudgebear, which is a little bit atypical, let's say. You've got a stalwart line of Longbeards. That's no surprise. This is Iron Drake with the flames are a bit unconventional, and then you got two Quarrelers. Pretty tight formation, double Goblob or Grudge Throwers. Surprisingly, they didn't bring the ROR. I mean, if you're gonna put 5 chevrons into a Grudge Thrower, why not just bring the ROR? And then Slayers in the back with 2 units of Slayers and a unit of Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. Going over my deployment, I had Malkith on his chariot. I put him in the trees for now. I don't think he's hidden though. No, he's not. So they can see him, but still, maybe it can block some cannon shots or at least keep him out of harm's way for the beginning. I have Harpies, Dark Shards, and Executioners, basically in 2 groups, supported by a hero, which is the Death Hag, and then 2 units of Harpies for screening. Bolt Throwers in the middle to counter snipe artillery, and then a little bit of Hellebronai Dreadspear action to just lock up the front line. So, and the only sneaky play is in the back I have some Shades with dual weapons. So let's start it out. I've got my Bolt Thrower trading with the Grudge Throwers. I also really find it can be hard to deal with the Thunderers, so maybe I should have targeted the Thunderers before the Grudge Thrower. I haven't made up my mind on that yet, but for now I think the Bolt Thrower is in range. Why not shoot the Grudge Thrower? It's usually pretty good at counter sniping artillery as long as it's in range. That's a big if. The reason why I like to bring increasingly, I like to bring the Bolt Thrower against the Dwarves, even though usually you're going to lose the artillery battle against the Dwarves anyway, is sometimes Dwarves don't bring the cannon, and even if they do bring the cannon, at least they're shooting at your Bolt Thrower at the start rather than your Executioners. Like I mean, if I'm the Dwarf player, maybe I'll just ignore the Bolt Thrower and just shoot at the Harganeth Executioners. But most Dwarf players, if they see artillery, they're going to focus the artillery, and that's what's happening here. So for myself, I'm just noticing the firing arcs. So the main firing arcs are really right here. And so I'm positioning on the flanks just to the side of each of these firing arcs so that I can start putting in pressure. Granted, there is this unit of Thunderers, which has a firing arc like right across here. That's going to be an issue for me. Especially, I don't want my Harganeth Executioners to be eating that Thunderer fire. So I will want to interrupt the Thunderers with the Harpies when the Executioners are going to push in. And as long as the Executioners can kind of get into the gravy, let's say, of the Dwarf line, so long as they aren't being shot by Thunderers, that should be a good situation for me. Malkith is snuck up on the side here. He's also going to be looking to disrupt Thunderers when he has the opportunity, but just being patient with him for now and letting my Dark Shards start to draw the attention of some of their missile units. I do think the Dark Shards are going to lose this. Of course, here they are 2v1 basically with the Quarrelers and the Thunderers, but at least they've squared up in that direction, which opens up the back line for my Shades, who maybe can start sniping some artillery or maybe start cutting down some Shades. These are the dual weapon variants, so if the Slayers do come at me, they can trade decently, and they can probably even win in a straight up fight. If they get off a volley of arrows and then they fight the Slayers in 1v1 combat, they should come out on top. Granted, it would be very atrocious and Slayers are slightly cheaper, but still, taking out the Slayers, even if it's just one unit, is a huge win for me because that frees up so much real estate for Malkith. The other challenge this poses to Dwarf players is they have to decide where they want to turn their guns. If he turns his Thunderers and Quarrelers around, then my front line can push up without any problem. If he doesn't, then I just have free shooting back here. So I think what he should have done maybe is rotated one unit of Quarrelers back. He still has his units He still has the 2 units of Thunderers. I probably wouldn't want to trade fire with 1 unit of Quarrelers. It would not be cost efficient. He hasn't done that though. So this unit of Shades is absolutely melting this unit of Dwarf Warriors with Great Weapons. Keep in mind the Dwarf Warriors with Great Weapons do not have any shields, so they're just eating that damage straight up. And the AP values of the armor is netting me a ton of the Shades is netting me a ton of value. So that unit of Dwarf Warriors with Great Weapons is off the field. I still have a lot of ammo, and now I'm going to be fighting the Shades. So what you'll notice is I do try, I believe, to kite the yeah, I do try and kite the Slayers. I don't think I'm having a ton of success with it because Slayers are pretty fast. Let's see, speed of 40, speed of 42. So yeah, I guess I am getting away. So that's pulling the Slayers very far away. If he doesn't commit that, then I can just shoot up his Goblobbers and other things. If he does commit that, then all of a sudden he's got a problem because he's only got 1 unit of Slayers and I have Malkith on a chariot. So I can just go like basically wherever the Slayers aren't. If the Slayers are on the right side, I send Malkith to the left side. If the Slayers are on the left side, I send Malkith to the right side. And yeah, so that's going well for me. I think those Shades have already paid for themselves just by pulling the Slayers out of the way and then just kiting. I do send in the unit of Harpies because I wasn't sure at the time, I guess, if the Shades could get away. It turns out I probably didn't need that, so I think I do pull them out. But in a pinch, you can throw some Harpies on some Slayers and they'll do okay. They'll do okay. They won't, unless you put a bunch of Chevrons in them, they won't win. But they'll do some damage and they'll buy you some time. So I am going to start rotating my infantry. I'm going to fast forward just a wee bit here. Pushing up the Death Hag, trying to get into this cluster. Malkith makes his first charge, and I rip a Chillwind down the line. So if you read the Chillwind description, it actually says good AP value, good against armor. And dwarfs have armor. They also have magic resist. I know, but if you do make a line like that, that's pretty good value. Like, I mean, the cast is only 5 wins of magic, right? So if I can take off maybe 15% of your HP off of 1 cast of Chillwind from 2 units, it's not a bad cast for 5 wins. Over here, Thorgrim is chasing after Malkith because he is sort of filling in the gap where the other Slayers used to be. This unit is regrouped. I can start pulling them back into the fight. I'm going to be pushing up my Harganeth Executioners. Unfortunately, I didn't have a Dread Sphere screen, but the Thunderers had turned around to shoot at Malkith, which meant that these Harganeth Executioners could get up in here and do the dirty. Over here, these Harganeth Executioners are taking a beating from the Iron Drakes, but it was go time and I had to go, and he can't be too pretty with Doris. I mean, some things are going to get shot. There's just no way around that. You just got to keep trucking. Over here, I've got the Death Hag debuffing the melee attack of the Longbeards. So Longbeards are going to be down to, what, 25 melee attack, which should help keep my Harganeth Executioners online a little bit longer. At least that was the hope. The Goblobbers are in pretty big trouble. I mean, the Bolt Thrower has broken off, but it has taken out 3 models of Goblobbers, and Grudge Throwers, or whatever, these fucking Dwarf Catapults, those things. This one's almost out of ammo, the other one's dead, so it's not that big of a deal. Over here, Dark Shards have regrouped. I've got a unit of Helibroni that's regrouped, and yeah, just going to be shooting in now with the Dark Shards on Mr. Thorgrim. A unit of Thunderers is trying to break free. I do have a wavering unit of Harpies that can lock them up, and Malkith is on the hunt right now, just trying to cause some disruption. The Shades are coming back into the play now that they're feeling safe and sound, but as long as I can shut down these Thunderers for a little while, that's going to give opportunities for my Executioners to do their job. And doing the job they are. Death Hag and Executioners are going absolutely ham on this front line. And Thorgrim is taking some aggregate damage from these Dark Shards, who have been able to shoot without counter fire coming in on them. So at this point, I think the battle is starting to trend a little bit in my favor. I mean, I've got the Executioners on the Longbeards, which is what I want. I've got the Dark Shards on Thorgrim Thrudgebearer, which is what I want. I've been screening the Thunderers with Malkith, which is what I want. And the Slayers are, I guess, not sure where to go. They probably should still be chasing Malkith. I don't know why he's pulled them back here on the Executioners. I guess he figured he was losing this fight and he had to try and get in a rear charge to try and equalize it, or else he would have been in trouble. But he has a couple units back here that have fallen back. He should be turning around the Quarrelers. Thunderers are going to shoot in at Malkith, but Mr. Thorgrim is on life support here. And I've got the Shades the regroup shades, shooting in on the Thunderers and just breaking them off. Applying the leadership penalty from being under fire is going to make it easier for Malekith to break them. Over here, my Death Hag has been shot up pretty good, so she's almost done. So the Dwarves did win this pocket. Over here, it looks like they might win this pocket here. It was going well for me, but then when the Slayers commit, then that sort of changed things. So maybe it wasn't a bad play to send the Slayers after all. If they couldn't catch Malekith, why not? Malekith is going to go in here, disrupt the Thunderers. Again, there's no Slayer support there, so it is freeing up attacking lanes for me. He is taking a bit of damage on the way in from the Quarrelers plus Thunderers, but he is a legendary lord, and he should be able to show those guys who's boss. Over here, Thorgrim is very, very low, but not dead yet. And just in the nick of time, these Longbeards get in on the Dark Shards and rout them. So I only have one unit of Dark Shards left, firing in at Thorgrim, and they're down to two volleys, basically. And these Iron Drakes, who were once obstructed, just absolutely light up the rest of my Helibroni. They are gone and off the field. Thorgrim's sitting at 400 HP. I have one shot left, and it's not enough to finish Thorgrim. He goes down to about 190 HP, so I was like super frustrated by that. So really, I've got Malekith, a unit of Harpies, unit of Shades, and then all of a sudden it's not looking so bad for the Dwarves. I mean, okay, besides their Lord, who's very, very low, they have way more units on the field than I do. I've got a very tattered unit of Dark Shards, a unit of Repeater Bolt Thrower who's been through hell and back. I've got like a Death Hag who's on her literal deathbed right now, and yeah, so it's getting very sketchy. Malekith is going to go in here and try and break off some of these low leadership units, and with the support of the Harpies, he doesn't get fully surrounded, so it doesn't take too much damage. Seems to be going okay there. Dark Shards are going to blow their load into these units of Quarrelers. Maybe I should have saved it for the Iron Drakes or for Mr. Thorgrim over here, but I just needed to start. I think I just wanted to get bodies off the field, and I knew they were slow, so if they did push, I might not have had the chance to even use that ammo. Shades are also out of ammo. I mean, they paid tons of dividends for me, if that makes sense. And Malekith just ran right the hell over the Slayers. Nice stuff there. I'm going to fast forward just a wee bit here. Drops a Chill Wind to break himself free of this infantry blob. And my biggest concern on the field right now are these Iron Drakes. So Malekith is going to go in hard. He does just basically plow right through the Slayers because they didn't have enough mass to snare him. And they weren't the Dragonback Slayers, and he didn't have any copies of the Wrath and Ruin, which is very meta for Dwarfs. And had they brought Wrath and Ruin, Malekith on a chariot might have been a much tougher play. But I was very lucky they did not. So it was a matchup where Malekith was actually kind of viable. And without the cannons too, that was another lucky thing for me. A cannon probably would have made short work of Malekith, but because they brought the double Goblobber, Grudge Throwers, whatever you call them, the double catapult, Malekith had less to worry about, let's say. So now basically I'm going to run Malekith through the Dark Shard fire as much as I can, and just continue to shoot the Slayers and other things while that's happening. What I probably should have done actually is repositioned onto Thorgrim, and I think I do that eventually, but not yet. The Death Hag goes in here on a bit of a suicide mission just to prevent these Iron Drakes from shooting for a little bit. I'm desperately trying to keep them from shooting, because if they do shoot, oh, look at this shot right across the unit of my Shades, very painful. If they do shoot the Shades or the Dark Shards, then I'm pretty much GG'd. The Dark Shards do get another volley in on Thorgrim. Thorgrim's sitting at 15 HP. Mr. Malekith is in here. Thorgrim and Malekith are doing it just in the nick of time, man. Malekith had 2 units of Slayers right in his back. Just managed to finish off Thorgrim, and yeah, now the Slayers are going to show what they can do with their dual weapons. Get right in here on these Slayers, and it says they're winning decisively, which is nice. And now with with everything basically dead except for this unit of Iron Drakes, the Slayers off the field, the leadership off the field, I'm starting to feel good about this. I've got a couple shots in here with the Dark Shard, and then just be very careful with Malekith to make sure he doesn't get shot. As long as Malekith is on the field, I'm feeling pretty good about this matchup. I'm going to go swing around the line of the firing arc, basically just try and curve around and see if I can get my chariot into where it needs to be. And Death Hag coming to her buddy's rescue again with Malekith, and just going to interrupt those Iron Drakes, prevent them from shooting. And Malekith says, "Thank you, lovely lady," and shuts up the Iron Drakes for good and for all. So that was a super fun game. I love that matchup. Usually I hate playing dwarfs, but these dwarfs didn't bring Wrath of Ruin or Cannon, so made my life easier. And it was still a fun match. I mean, the Iron Drakes with the flamethrower, I mean, they prevented me from just charging the front line with the Helibroni, the Dread Spears, which I would usually use to just lock up the Longbeards and the other Dwarf Chaff. So yeah, crazy stuff. And so here was a follow-up matchup against Sindri Meyer, who I think is a pretty good Beastman player. I've seen him on ladder a few times playing Beastman. I wanted to try a couple different things. One, I wanted to use the Dark Riders with repeater crossbows to screen some skirmish cav. Interestingly enough, he didn't bring any skirmish cav. Two, I often see Morgar the Shadowgrave in these matchups, and he's got the unit of Chaos Spawn. So I wanted something that could fight the Chaos Spawn without me worrying too much. And three, I wanted some armor so I could deal with like low tier infantry. So I think the Blackguard offer all of those things in spades. I don't know if you can run 4 of them in tournament battles. I think the max is 3. So probably this is not a tournament legal build, but it's pretty close. It's one unit of Blackguard off, so cut me some slack. Here I've got the Death Hag, and I have Look here, Felheart. Interestingly, I didn't bring any Winds of Magic. At least it's interesting to me, and maybe if you're a computer nerd like me too. Yeah. Hi Amber. Cygros are good? Okay, cool. I'm just going to finish this cast and then I'll keep talking with you. So over here, the Harpies dive into the Sons of Goros. I just wanted to lock them up. And Felheart, he's a lord I've been playing around with a little bit more lately. He can be hit or miss, but in certain matchups, I think he pays dividends. Against Beastmen, he's got that fear ability. I'm just going to highlight that now, which is right here, -4 leadership, which might not sound like a lot, but against Beastmen, I mean, most leadership is sitting around 50 if they just try and overload you with like chaff. So yeah, if they've taken a bit of damage and you drop that -4 plus terror, it makes it a lot easier to just break off chaff instead of having to fight it all. Dark Shards get in a quick charge here on the Gore Herd just to break them up. Death Hag's in here with the Black Guard, making it difficult for these spears to really land hits. So spears are down to a 15 melee attack against the melee defense of 50 on the Black Guard. So, I mean, I don't think the spears are going to be effective. And is there enough Gore Herd to kill the Black Guard? I don't know. I don't think so. Are the cavalry going to kill the Black Guard? I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't. I don't know what on the Beastmen roster can kill the Black Guard outside of like Ungor Raiders, and even the Ungor Raiders don't have AP shooting. So without Skirmish Cav with their AP missiles, I mean, the Black Guard are in heaven. And because of this map, if you look, it's very heavily wooded. I mean, they were kind of in their element. That was another reason why I decided to go heavy on the Black Guard in this particular matchup. Felheart's going to get in here and just fight these Centaurs with great weapons. He does have the ability to heal, which is nice to counteract the sustain of, let's say, the regen of Morgar the Shadowgrave, and he can also just fight Morgar the Shadowgrave. He's got enough mass to just kind of plow through a lot of the chaff. So what you'll see here is I did send both units of Dark Riders with repeater crossbows in to pin the Sons of Goros. Probably that's an atrocious trade, but I wanted to make sure that they couldn't just walk away. I had the Harpies on them, I had Felheart on them, and they were taking a lot of damage, and I wanted the Sons of Goros off of the field. Now, I did make a mistake here. I didn't have this unit of Blackguard on guard mode, so what you'll see is they're pushing out into the river, which is a disaster for me, because if they sit in this river, A, they're slower, and B, there's 2 units of Ungor Raiders which can just shoot in on them and cause them all kinds of problems. I did a similar mistake over on this flank, but there was less that could punish me for it. But this was a big mistake that could have cost me the game. On the other hand, I was microing in here Felheart. He absolutely ate this Beastman Caster. I don't know why Sindri Myers sent the Beastman Caster in here towards the dragon, but I was super happy that he did. And then that left the Death Hag and other things to start doing some work on Morgar. Now I had a decision here. I mean, Morgar is pretty isolated, so do I go back and go on Morgar, or do I finish off this Brave Shaman wild? I decided to send the Harpies after the Brave Shaman, hoping that they could just chase him off. I think I did. Oh, maybe I didn't. That was probably a mistake by me. But the Chaos Spawn summon in here was surrounding my Death Hag, and I didn't really want to lose my Death Hag. And plus, if you can actually kill the Beastman Lord, I mean, that's a win. So Felheart's in here, diving on Morgar the Shadowgrave, doing some pretty good work, and helping take out these Chaos Spawn. And they are crumbling. I mean, Death Hag plus Felheart is a pretty solid melee pocket, and the Blackguard are basically just screening. Like I have one unit Blackguard here, one unit Blackguard here, trying to be very tight. Over here, like I said, this is the unit that kind of got stuck up. Right around this point in the battle, I think I realized my mistake, and I'm going to try and bring them back to my front line. But yeah, okay, so I did send the Harpies after the Brave Shaman, but the regrouped Sons of Goros dealt with them. So the Brave Shaman did come back. Over here I have a unit of Dark Riders with the Crossbows and some other Dark Riders. Probably I just forgot about them, so micro mistake there by me. But my attention was certainly focused in here on force passing my way through the Beastman Chaff and just trying to get it onto Morgar the Shadowgrave. This guy is a nuisance to kill because of that powerful regen. I mean, I think I would kind of like regen to stop working if you're running away from the fight. I mean, I think it's a little bit weird that you're just power healing as you're running away. Felheart does get snared up here, and I'm like, okay, shit, do I fight the Centaurs, or do I try and force pass my way onto Morgar? In the end, I was like, well, I think Centaurs are pretty high value. Let's just get into them and cut them up a little bit. They do fortunately get Terror Routed. Death Hag is in there. It gets in a rear charge. I'm just using the Dark Riders mostly to pin things that I want to get killed. Blackguard are screening. So this is punishing. There's a Vile Tide coming from the Brave Shaman. Okay, so in terms of Beastman spells, there's Vile Tide is, in my opinion, it's not as good as Brave Scream. If you're going to play Beastman, just bring Brave Scream. It's way better. This one is better against lightly armored stuff, so the Blackguard were actually okay there. But he did summon this Cygor on top of the Blackguard. Granted, Blackguard are sort of meant for fighting things like that, but now the Blackguard are in a situation where they have a full surround. They've got a giant Cygor beating on them. They didn't like that. My Witch Elves sort of get screened off by just the masses of the Beastman stuff. Balance of power is very much not in my favor at this point in the battle. So I'm like, I absolutely have to kill Morgar if I'm going to be able to even this out. I do get pinned again by Cavalry, so Cavalry and Spears are just hounding Lokir Felheart wherever he goes. But fortunately, I brought Foe Seeker on Felheart. So he pops the Foe Seeker, and all of a sudden he's up to 112 speed, and see you later, Centaurs. You're not fast enough to catch me. So that lets me dive down here and finish the job on Morgar the Shadowgrave. And at this point, I was so happy that I brought Foe Seeker, because had I not been able to kill him, then all of that leadership would have been really high, and I just probably would have not had the resources to finish the job. Like when I play against Beastmen, usually my victory condition is killing the Beastman Lord. If I kill the Beastman Lord, I win the game. If I don't, I just get overrun. Over here, I've got the Harpies coming back in. They're going to screen off the Brave Shaman. I cycle the Death Hag around because I want to make sure that there's actually something to finish the job. Another Vile Tide goes down here, but I have a second unit of Blackguard. They're going to regroup. And again, as long as the Blackguard can sit in the forest, I'm not too worried about them dying from missile fire. These guys, Ongor Raiders, are chasing after Felheart, but they're not going to have any luck. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Some jockeying for position here. Felheart's done his thing. He's going to rotate around. And now it's kind of the last stand for the Blackguard and company. Just holding tight in the woods here with the debuff and the Death Hag. Cygor summon drops, the Shaman's out, and now Terror is going to become a factor. So Lokir Felheart is just going to break off a whole bunch of stuff, and finally the balance bar is shifting in my favor. I'm hunting basically the cavalry units, and if I can get the charge in on the cavalry units, that makes it much less painful for me. I do get countercharged, but without any real AP on the field, I mean, Felheart can kind of heal through a lot of that damage, and I mean, completely paying dividends. If you had doubts about Felheart's value in this matchup, I mean, I used to hate Felheart, but I mean, he is doing absolute work in this game, and you know, maybe there are some niches where he can be useful. So yeah, I hope you liked the replay. Now it's just basically cleanup, and I might do some quick battles or other fun stuff later tonight, but that's it for the replays for now. Take it easy. Bye.